In the flash, you're losing cash with a package from China, so let's go. Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in because we're going to be doing a little bit of a chit chat about the GS5 HD. We've seen a lot of these PlayStation Mini, wait, cable, go away. So there was actually all kinds of different clones out there, or mini PlayStation 4, 5, whatever. But this is an interesting one. This is a brand new version, the GameStation 5 32-bit power. Yeah, now we're playing with fake power. But when it comes to the controllers, that is one of the things I was really curious about. And when you're getting these products from AliExpress, you never know what to expect. And that's actually the reason why I started making these videos. But let's take a close look inside of the package. And let's see if this is going to be absolutely pure garbage or is it going to be any good. So the system itself and also the measurements are slightly different sometimes. So when it comes to the form factor, this looks absolutely great. This looks absolutely fun. I think it's already like a fun novelty to put next to your PlayStation 5. So the SD cards you're using, yeah, micro SD. Yeah, there's actually not a brand, so take consideration these things need to be backup. Otherwise you're going to be having the problem sometimes after a couple of reboots. It's going to be starting to get corrupted and this thing is becoming a brick. However, HDMI out, input for a micro USB. Oh, still using micro USB. Over here we're having the stand, and what you can actually do over here is just plug this thing in like the original PlayStation 5, and you can just put it on your desk. So let's see what we can actually find in the inside. Two controllers, and let's check out the overall quality. So it does have like an okay decent weight to it. So the controller configuration is really cheap, having micro switched buttons and top, having a slider, and the slider is interesting because we can even switch between player 1 and player 2. Battery compartment, we're going to be needing two AAA batteries today. And oh man, the buttons are really cheap, not really actually in D-pad, just 4 separate buttons. And having over here the select and start. So controller wise, they're wireless. I'm guessing I don't need to do anything with that. Let's see if there's a dongle or something else. Having here the HDMI cable, the toilet paper manual explaining how everything works. So doesn't really explain a lot how you need to connect it. So stuff about the menu itself. Okay, if this is going to be looking like this is going to be something really cool, to be honest. That would be very nice. And let's see everything over here, micro USB cable. So I'm guessing the communication will be done by, let's say, something in the inside or at least on the main board itself. And yeah, connect everything. We're going to be needing a power supply or at least like a 5-volt adapter for your phone. Don't need to really be in supercharge or charge or whatever, but something very basic and simple. Let's say in 2 amp or so. Oh yeah, we're having the old school soundtrack from some SF2000 and other devices. The menu looks nice and we do have some couple of interesting platforms. I already see some PC Engine. Ooh. But software wise, this thing is not bad itself. So pressing start will automatically implement, let's say activate. So I must say that I've been playing with a lot of crappy controls, but this is not that bad. Select brings you back to the main menu. So we're having PC Engine, Super Famicom, Mega Drive, Game Boy, like the Classic and the Advance. Okay, the main. You can download ROMs or add files to the SD card and actually add them over here. So we can even add games there. Favorite list. Man, I love it. Favorite, so much easier to actually like very quickly go into your favorite games. History, what has been played on this. Search, the joystick configuration. So here you can see with every single system you can just fairly easily switch. With the shoulder buttons we can go to the different platforms. Just the way how everything is, so it's quite interesting to see. Less languages, different ones, and that's it. So let's go into the PC Engine. It comes with a screenshot or actually box art. Up and down we're going to the next game. Alphabetic order has been implemented, so that's great. So if you want to search a game, you can very easily do that. If you want to add them to the favorite list, to be honest, I have no idea what to be. What to be? This is B. Okay, B is actually the cross, like with PlayStation. Okay. So let's go to one of my favorite games, Gradius, for example, or having the Jackie Chan game. Let's put those in my favorite. So what I love about it is we can just scroll through a list. So let's say if you want to go into this, we can just say, hey, we're going to put all of my favorite games in here. And let's say we're the Bomberman world, we're Bomberman somewhere here. So in this way we can just actually create our list fairly easy. Oh, there are kinds of different games, and I'm not going to be showcasing the full list because that's going to be way too big. Of a very long video. Darius Force, another great game. Desert Fighter, or no, sorry, Desert Strike, that's the one I need to have. But okay, so we're going to be into the favorite list in here, and I'm guessing I can actually go into the favorites. Press start. Yeah. Okay. No, that's the history. Need to get into favorite list. There we go. And here we're having the favorite list where we can actually show everything what we have been putting in there. So history. Let's boot up a game. Let's see how fast it loads up. The music is messed up of the main menu. Let's see if that goes away. Loading up the file. Let's see how long it takes up. It's a very long time for just a general emulator. Okay, the main menu is stopped like we're doing with. Okay, pressing select to start will give you the menu. Aha! We can do scaling. We can make a quick save if you want to. Pressing start. Okay, let's resume. Ooh, the music is messed up. But that has to do with me switching out to this express ratio. Okay, let's choose the wrong game. Crap. I wanted to boot up the same game again. Oh man, and didn't need to load up again. Oh man. And like I expected, everything seems to be working just fine. Or at least in the beginning. Ooh. No! There's some weird things going on with the audio. Oh wait. Isn't this not like Metal Slug 2? The one that is completely like messed up on the system? Yeah, so I think this is absolutely the wrong game to actually test out. But aspect ratio wise, that seems to be working fine. Let's get into some other stuff. But also particularly, let's just check out a different Metal Slug game because, oh man, I chose the wrong one. Absolutely. Okay, so let's see. Let's use the search engine list breakers. Let's check out if this game is actually on there. Oh, messed it up. Did a typo. Let's see how fast this actually works out. Okay. Oh, nice. And the reason why, let's load it up. Loading times are freaking long, but we can actually check out if anything is going to be working for the Neo Geo part. Yeah, that was just like the simple particular game that was not running good. Okay, so let's do a little bit of a chit chat about the Neo Geo, but also a little bit about this game, because Breakers is more like the Street Fighter Alpha. Okay, so when it comes to playing this game, we have this very strange D-pad. It feels very strange, but it seems to be functional for fighting games. Let's see, the shuttle buttons haven't been mapped to that. But overall, performance-wise, yeah, of course the controller is not the way I actually want to play. So we do have like two front-facing controllers, or controller ports or USB ports. So maybe we can even add some new controllers, but that's something we can check out later on. But emulation-wise for the Neo Geo, that seems to be working just fine. This sounds slow. Let's see. Can we actually do messing with it? No, we just have only the screen. And interesting that with it going to be setting up to the aspect ratio 4:3, every single emulator will be set to that part. Sounds really slow, so I'm guessing this is just a PAL game. Let's see, if we're going to be having some craziness when it comes to the, let's say, screen tearing. So emulation performance so far I can actually see is that this is going to be running just fine. What I love about it, also implemented the turbo buttons, so that's really fun if you're going to be playing some NES. What is cool that it also actually remembers what part of the list you were, because when I was jumping into the PC Engine, it actually showcases the Jackie Chan game. They also ported this to the NES. I do wonder what kind of platform it's also been, but this is absolutely one of those hidden gems. I think the PC Engine is such an underrated device. I also bought a couple of them, like a PC Engine with a CD add-on, but I just love the cartridge technology we're using. It's absolutely one of those systems that were ahead of its time. But also emulation is just working fine. Super Famicom. Okay, so that intro looks a little bit choppy. Okay. Is this another way they completely messed up the Super Famicom? Yep, they completely messed up the Super Famicom, you know. And that's the thing I love to test out these devices, because randomly they come and mess up the Super NES. But you know what the bigger problem is with these devices? There is nothing you can do about it. Okay, so I was actually trying to boot up the Mega Drive part, but the system completely froze. What the heck? Can I reset this bloody thing or what? So let's boot this thing over. Oh, is my SD card already broken? That wouldn't be the first time that actually happened with like inside of, let's say, in the middle of a review, but okay. So let's try it again. So what I want to do, going to the game, WWF WrestleMania, the arcade game, and boot this freaking thing up. But it didn't do anything, just gave me a black screen. Oh, this time I'm having the Sega logo. Okay, and nothing happens. Okay, great. Let's give it another attempt with the Street of Rage 2 game. We'll see if we can get ourselves. Yep, it was like a problem with the file itself. Okay, so that's something a little bit of a bummer, but doesn't matter. So far so good. Okay, let's get into the game. So emulation, yep, these were working just fine. Also, the aspect ratio looks so much better with this particular, game or system itself. So the controllers are very responsive. I'm just easily holding it, like say, under the table, just see if I can get some signal out of it. But so far, like this is 2.4 gigahertz they're actually using is quite nice. So emulation performance of the Sega is going to be absolutely a go. Man, I love the soundtrack. This brings back some really good memories. Sometimes you have these soundtracks that brings you back to certain moments, and I think this soundtrack, I just really enjoy it. Magical Drop on the Game Boy Color. I never knew they actually released this game on there. Because Magical Drop is one of the games I actually started playing on the Neo Geo systems. Is it Neo Geo system? I think I have the right one. Oh, if I had this, I would be completely addicted to it. Oh man, I love this game. This is so much fun. Advanced GT2. So where I actually stepped out of the handheld gaming with the Game Boy Advance. Okay, that is not good. Ugh. Let's see how the gameplay will be. So when it comes to playing these games, you know, Game Boy Advance, it's so like a massive freaking library of, like say, games, and I have no actually how do I boot this game up? Oh, the emulation is completely messed up. Which button is for acceleration? Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's completely messed up. Well, the sound effects are kind of cool. Come on. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah, they messed it up with the Game Boy too. Oh. So moving on to the main stuff like the Capcom systems, you know, it's absolutely a very cool way to play. And you know, when you're having a completely messed up Game Boy Advance and a completely messed up Super Famicom, the Capcom stuff seems to be running just fine. Makes no sense. So moving on to the Blazing Star, one of those many cool shmups you can actually play with some Neo Geo. However, let's get into the gaming, and so far when it comes to MAME or let's say the Capcom systems, we can actually play this without any problem. So it's interesting to see that how they can mess it up, and I think that is one of the reasons why I actually started testing out these products, because yeah, it's absolutely a freaking nightmare sometimes. The simple things they mess up, and where the, let's say the more demanding emulators, they seems to be having no problems whatsoever. And the biggest thing is that, like, I don't mind if you cannot really change anything out when it comes to this, let's say, emulator. But yeah, set it up at least. And this is one of the problems, because if you want to play Super NES or Game Boy Advance, it's going to be a no-go. And by the way, the controller is not great. Oh man, it's absolutely a nightmare to be honest, because it's so freaking annoying to navigate with 4 separate buttons. Okay, so the controller itself seems to be working fine when it comes to communication between the system and the controller itself. And I already mentioned before, you can switch between play 1, play 2. So this is, actually, if they implement a better D-pad, it would be absolutely great. However, so how it is when it comes for plugging something in. So let's grab myself. This is an original Xbox 360 controller. Finally, there we have the cable. Let's plug this thing in and let's see if we can actually get something going on. Oh, okay. It just bricked. Or did I touch the on and off switch? No, no, no. What? It just stopped working. What the heck? Okay, so you're going to be plugging in a controller? It just freaking stopped working. What the heck is this for kind of crap? Oh man, what a mess this thing is. And it's not all bad when it comes to that, but you know, there was no way to fix the emulators. There's no way of actually doing anything to this. So what you see is what you're getting. So, and I must say that this thing was quite expensive. Let's see if I can just open it up like that. No, I think there was no way of opening it up. There we go. I'm just rip and tear. I just wanted to take a close look. Oh, there we go. We're ripping it apart. Oh, there we go. Ah, man, it's really difficult to open it up. Come on! There were no screws whatsoever, just clicked it together. Man, man. Okay, there we go. I completely ripped the case itself, but I just wanted to do a quick look in the inside. So, first of all, there was nothing of an information because they removed it. Oh, I freaking hate it when they're doing that. So, let's see what it actually says on the PCB. DFG01, a HDMI version 1.3. Comes with a Samsung chip over here, but I'm guessing they're using some really old school, let's say, configuration when it comes to that. So everything is connected, as you can see over here. So the PCB, when it comes to, let's say, everything, but unfortunate, we can't even plug in a freaking controller. Yeah, so it's safe to say that another one bites the dust, because this is one of those many GS5 Mini Pro thingies that's absolutely garbage. I've seen all kinds of different models, but this one is absolutely a big disappointment. Where I love the menu, the idea, the software itself and aspect ratio, quick load, quick save, it's all in here, but when it comes to emulation performance of some of the systems, it's completely messed up. Yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments what you think of this. Thank you all for watching. Consider subscribing, and I would say just avoid stuff like this, because this is not worth your money and time. Where it looks kind of cool, but that's actually it. And it will be great to see you in the next video.